Hello, everyone, and welcome to Locked On Flames. Now that Johnny has chosen his destination, I decided to head on over to Locked On Blue Jackets to discuss the absolute pros and the small cons of Johnny's game style and how he might fit in Columbus versus other teams that were interested in him.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to Locked On Flames. As always, I'm your host, Jess Belmosto, and thank you so much for tuning in to the live last night if you watched it. It is up on our YouTube channel if you're interested to hear Audie and I discuss our instant reactions to John signing in Columbus. But before we do that, I figured just jump into the positives. I joined Jay of Locked On Blue Jackets to discuss, the kind of player that John might be. So if you're a new listener and you're looking for insight on John, this is the episode for you. And let's jump right into it.
So we all know who Johnny Gaudreau is. We all know who Johnny Hockey is. But I thought, who better to come and tell us a little bit more about the newest Blue Jacket, or potential plural Blue Jackets, depending on how much time we have today, than someone who covers the team. So I've got Jeff Belmosto here of Locked On Calgary Flames to come and tell us a little bit about our newest son.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to just talk about John to someone who will listen.
Well, I guess let's start off with, how do you feel about the trade? Not the trade, excuse me. How do you feel about the signing?
I have mixed emotions. I totally understand why he chose to go to a team in the States. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, oh, there goes the Flames window, shut and locked. It's fine. But, at the end of the day, it is a business. It's a personal decision. These aren't just pawns and video game characters. They have lives too.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I've seen, and I'm sure you've seen a lot as well, of a lot of fans feel betrayed by Gaudreau choosing to go somewhere else. And I'm like, yeah, but he's like, the team has basically controlled what he's been able to do for the first 10 years of his career. Like, you can't, and admittedly, I am biased because he came to my team,
exactly.
but you can't begrudge him for like, hey, I finally have an amount of agency about where I can go, and I want to go to Columbus, which,
that's fine.
Yeah.
Which I think going to Columbus makes a lot more sense than going to a team like Philly, Jersey, or even the Islanders. And people are saying he's not that close to home. Have you looked at a map of the United States? Do you think that Johnny Gaudreau, the millionaire, is going to be driving 8 hours back to Salem, New Jersey, or is he going to hop on a flight that takes 90 minutes from
that was
Columbus?
The thing. People were like, 8 hours is not that close. And I'm like, he has $1 bajillion and the Blue Jackets have a private jet. Like,
right. He can afford to charter a private jet if he so chooses. It doesn't.
Right.
It's so much closer than Calgary, and you don't have to deal with customs. You don't have to deal with, I was talking with Brett of Locked On Oilers yesterday, and he said, sometimes I can't even find a direct flight from Edmonton, which is in Alberta, north of Calgary, to Toronto, which is the same country.
Yeah.
So cry me a river about this. He's not that close to home.
Like, the absolute worst case scenario is that he has to fly from Columbus Airport to, like, Newark.
Right.
And that's like an hour and a half flight. I've done that flight.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Like, it's not
It's okay.
bad. Right.
But
Just bitterness, something else.
let's talk a little bit about Johnny, the
Oh,
hockey player,
yes.
because he's not a player that I get to watch a lot. Obviously, playing in the Western Conference, and he had a phenomenal season this season. At the point, like, it's weird. I knew he was good, but when they were like, "Yeah, he had 115 points this season," I was like, "Oh, well,
Yeah,
dang." So, tell us a little bit about what we should expect from Johnny Gaudreau when he steps on the ice in October.
there is so much skill in that quote unquote undersized body of his that I swear he just absorbed it from everyone else around him as a child. He is fantastic. He has speed. He's recently become more of a defensive forward as well. Now, I wouldn't put him up there with someone like Patrice Bergeron in terms of being a two-way forward, but there is a defensive element to his game that hadn't been there in years past. And today in his press conference, he talked about him not overpassing as much anymore and how he wants to work on that. And that's like the one qualm I have with him is just not having the confidence to shoot the puck. So if you leave Johnny open behind the net, he's going to score. There's no doubt about that. He will find a way to get that puck in the net. I want to say that he's a clutch player, but I feel like he hasn't had enough time or opportunity to truly earn that title, but he did score the overtime goal in Game 7 against Dallas. So, to me, that's about as clutch as you get.
Yeah, he's a player that, and I was talking to Gilmartin of the Locked On NHL channel about this, and he's one of the 3 best players that's ever played for Columbus already. Like
And he hasn't even
this is so exciting. It's a franchise altering decision, and a lot of people I feel like haven't even seen him at his best yet because of the COVID seasons. It's all been super weird. Like a couple of seasons ago, they didn't face each other at all because they had to play Edmonton like 12 times instead of going to the States, So
Yep.
I feel like it feels silly to say that he's underrated because I feel like a lot of people know exactly how good he is, but I feel like there's a lot more people out there that are like, and like I saw a lot of, I was tweeting about this earlier. I saw a lot of very salty Flames fans being like, Johnny Gaudreau's going to be bad once you take him away from Kachuk and Lindholm. Like, who have Columbus even got to play with him? He's going to be like, one guy was like, he's probably going to be a 45-point player on Columbus, and I'm like, my guy. He could play by himself and still probably crack the 50-point
Yeah.
mark. Like,
And that doesn't, to me, you're just like dogging on his performance and not the players that Columbus has available. I don't know. I don't really actively root for the downfall of, well, I was going to say any NHL player, but that's a lie. But no, I think that he's going to thrive in Columbus. I hope he does. I hope that, in a few years from now, he looks back and says, this was the right decision. And I'm sure he will. Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't be excited. I haven't seen any Blue Jackets fans be like, why would they do this? Because you're smart.
The one question mark now is Patrick Laine.
Yeah.
But I also like Jarmo Kekalainen's talked a lot about we want to resign. We still want to resign Patrick Laine. That's still there. That's still what their
Right.
plan is. And so I have been thinking about putting literally anyone between Patrick Laine and Johnny Gaudreau and just kind of watching them go. Like that, put Boone Jenner between them for all I care. Like
that's fine.
That feels like it's gonna be.
Well, I hope that you're enjoying the episode so far because there is so much more to talk about. And before we get ahead of ourselves here, let me take a minute to talk about our next partner at Athletic Greens. AG1 is a fantastic way to get all of your dietary needs and great way to start your day with 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. Since I've started taking AG1, my stomach has been doing a lot better, and I no longer find myself really dealing with a lot of my stomach issues that I've had pretty much my entire life. It costs less than $3 a day, and you're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than going through the Starbucks drive-through every morning. And I think it's great that you're with AG1, you're investing in an all-natural nutritional insurance. And Athletic Greens was created when the founder experienced a lot of gut health issues and ended up complicating his supplement routine to recover, and it was costing him about $100 a day. So to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1 year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NHL network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Which is bonkers. 40 goals. His previous high was 99 points, I believe, a few seasons ago. And then he's kind of hovered somewhere around between, I think, 60 and 80 for most of his other seasons. Do you think he can consistently hit that kind of 100-point mark? Do you think this season was not necessarily a fluke, but is the season he had this year repeatable, do you think?
So I think why it looks like he took such a nosedive is because of the unfortunate pause in the season, and then last year was the shortened season against all the Canadian teams, and quite honestly, I never want to do that again. So if we can keep this world healthy, that'd be great. But I do think that he is somebody who can consistently put up between 90 and 100 plus points. I think that he is entering his prime. You know, that 115-point season is the launching point for what his future is going to look like. And it's bright. Like, I don't care what team he went to, he was going to be a difference maker anywhere else. And, you know, like you said, you could put him on the ice by himself and he could do the 100-point thing. It's just, what gets to me is I don't know how the Blue Jackets current like coaching system works, but you know, he did take a little while to adjust to Daryl Sutter's coaching style, but once he did, we saw the true talent and the full potential of Johnny.
Yeah, Brad Larson is this is only going to be his second full year coaching as a head coach, but he's kind of the Blue Jackets were fun this season. They were not necessarily good all of the time, but they were fun, and I feel like they play a style that Gaudreau is really going to flourish in. You know, you talked about he does have that defensive responsibility, which is great because not a lot of our forwards like to do the defense thing. A lot of our defensemen also don't necessarily like to do the defense thing. They we just have a bunch of rovers at the back, so it'll be nice to have someone who can play that kind of two-way game. But yeah, and I think we talked about this in the live show yesterday of if Johnny had gone to Philadelphia,
Yeah,
that could have been an interesting clash between John Tortorella's preferred style and Johnny Gaudreau's actual style. So this feels like the best situation for him to be that player. I think, you know, there was when Patrick Laine first came to Columbus, there was a lot of talk of we need to turn him into a 200-foot player. We need to turn him into a power forward. No, you don't.
no.
You park him in that face-off dot and you get the puck to him. Like, you don't need to make him learn how to do defense. And I think they've kind of figured that out with Laine. So hopefully they could do the same with Gaudreau and figure out, you know, okay, this kid can just pass the puck all day to Patrick Laine, to Oliver Bjorkstrand, to Cole Sillinger, to literally whoever, and find success.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And especially where John is kind of at that point in his career where he's 28, 29 years old, I'm not saying you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but he's been in, he knows what works for him at this point in his career. Sure, you can say, hey, let's like try this and see how it works, but you don't have to force the implementation of something ridiculous that it's just probably going to set you up for failure.
Yeah, for sure. So he actually, in terms of like, I want to talk about the contract for a little bit, because the first I heard was that the Blue Jackets had made an offer of like 7 years at $12 million. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, no.
Slow down. But how do you feel about the contract that he signed? 9.8, that feel, oh, I think it's 9.75 million was the official AAV. Like, is that about right? Is that a little bit like, did Yarmo manage to get a little bit of a steal there?
I feel like it's right. I'm sorry. There aren't too many 10 million plus players in this league. And I understand why Calgary rolled out the red carpet and figures for him. But, 9.8 feels right. And Flames fans are talking about how he left $15 million on the table and how can that be the right decision for the family? Because it's not all about money. But I do like that figure for the salary cap that's just the number that I would give John regardless. I think that, between 9.5 and 10 is where he's at. And, the $12 million figure, I remember seeing that and being like, oh, we're getting a little overconfident here. Okay.
I was like, yeah, this feels like a very free agency thing to be like $12 million. But yeah, it's been a wild 24 hours for Blue Jackets fans.
And before we wrap up today's show, let's talk about Built Bar. Y'all know that I love me a good snack, and especially one that it has great nutritional value. And Built Bar is now offering you the coconut brownie chunk puff. Yes, from the people who invented the healthy and tasty snack comes the latest gift to your taste buds. You've probably tried the coconut brownie chunk before, and now you're going to try it in a marshmallowy, fluffy goodness treat that tastes like it should be so bad for you, but it is actually very good for you. The coconut brownie chunk puffs are only here for a limited time, though, so you need to go to built.com right now to make sure you don't miss out, as they are going fast and they taste amazing, so everyone's trying to restock on them. All the Built Bars are made with delicious 100% covered in chocolate, and the best part about Built Puffs is, of course, that they taste amazing, but you can enjoy them anywhere on the go because they're good for you and they pack the perfect punch of taste and sweetness all in one. Head on over to built.com right now and use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off of your order. That's promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off of your order. $10.5 million deal. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, I think that they are going to work on extending him long term and work on Andrew Mangiapane as well, who is 26 and a really young player who is a prime offer sheet candidate. So I just think that those two deals truly are the main priority right now in terms of them wanting to move forward. They said that they didn't have a plan B for if John walked, and I don't believe that. I don't believe that because I make plan Bs in case my lunch plans fall through.
Right.
You're telling me you don't have a plan B as a general manager of like a multi-billion-dollar like corporation. I think that Nazem Kadri is still out there. I was hoping they would go after someone like Philip Forsberg, but unfortunately, that's gonna deal happened for that extension happened. But I also think that this is a perfect opportunity for them to promote from within and give some of their younger guys a chance at the big league roster. Adam Ruzicka is a fantastic prospect. Pelletier had one of the best seasons and Stockton history. There's a lot that is there and can make the roster better. But it's truly whatever Daryl Sutter wants because he doesn't like playing the young kids. So
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I watched a lot of Stockton last season when I was covering the Ontario Reign for Field Pass Hockey last season. So I watched a lot of the Stockton Heat games, and I was like, man, Calgary has got a sneaky good farm team here. So I think you might be right. Like, and I think there's the thing about always re-signing your big names, I think, is that sometimes that creates a little bit of a logjam. And,
yeah,
you're never like, who's going to put Johnny Gaudreau on the second line, to give
no
some kid a chance? So this could be, your prospect, I think, could, hopefully there's one or two of them that can go out there and like be like, I'm going to take this opportunity and give it everything I have. I've seen a lot of, I feel like Flames fans have gone down two very distinct emotional paths here, and it's Gaudreau sucked, we don't need him anyway, and this team will fall
delusional.
apart without Gaudreau, and there seems to be like no no in between. But I feel like the Flames are definitely a weaker team without Gaudreau.
Yeah,
But I also feel like people are expecting it feels almost as if they've taken Connor McDavid away from the Oilers. Like, you've still got Leon Draisaitl on the Oilers. You've still got Matthew Tkachuk on the
right.
Flames, who is, he scored 40 goals this season, right? Like, he's a
Yeah, we still
phenomenal
have
young player.
Elias Lindholm too, who put up 42 goals or something.
Yeah.
Like, there's still talent there. It's not something you can replace, obviously, but there's a way to work around it. There's other solutions, and this isn't a video game. It's just not. And I feel like so many people are just stuck in this negative loop of, well, he didn't go home. He didn't go home. Okay. He did not betray
He went
you.
where he wanted to go. Please
Right.
drop it.
And like, there's just no reason to harp on this incessantly. Like, he's gone. There's nothing you can do about it. And yeah, he kind of let things wait until the 11th hour, but what are you going to do? You can't like force him to change his mind. The contract's signed now. So
That's exactly how UFAs work. Like, it's weird being on the other side of this, because obviously Blue Jackets fans got to see this firsthand a couple of years ago when Bobrovsky and Artemi Panarin and Matt Duchene all walked to free agency.
yeah.
Like, it sucks. And I do feel for Flames fans, because it sucks when players that you love and good players decide to walk away. But at the end of the day, I will always support a player's right to go and play where he wants. It's like people get really upset when players request trades or when they don't want to re-sign, and I'm like, the team controls where they go until they're like, what, 26?
Yeah,
25,
26,
26?
27,
Like,
I
if they
think.
start playing at the age of 18 in the big leagues, that's 7 years of their NHL career where they've had basically no agency in what they get to do or where they get to play, and
Yeah.
so yeah, again, I'm biased because he ended up on my team, but like, if he'd ended up on New Jersey, or if he'd ended up on Philadelphia, or if he'd ended up on the Islanders, I would have been like, yeah, fine. He's given this team enough. He's given this team several years of his
Right.
peak at this point. He's allowed to play where he wants. So
And he doesn't owe anyone in Calgary anything. That's like someone, so his sister quote tweeted the Flames like tribute, like goodbye Johnny video. And people were in her replies like saying all these things. And it's just like, number one, this is his sister. She doesn't have anything to do with this. Number two, it's not going to change his mind. Number three, he doesn't owe you an explanation of why.
yeah, which I get. I again, because we've been through this, I do understand this feeling of betrayal. Like, I was mad as hell when Bobrovsky walked away, when Panarin walked away, because I was like, they liked it here. We just won our first playoff series ever with these guys, and now they're going to walk away for a bigger payday. Like, fine, I guess. And I remember being really mad about it. But like, at the end of the day, that's how
it's a
this
business.
league works. in a salary cap world. Like, he's
Yeah.
allowed to do what he wants. He's allowed to go where he wants. If the league didn't want that, then it wouldn't be designed like this. But I could rant forever about the problems that with the fan base versus like player agency. That feels like a whole other
We could do a whole episode on that.
But I will finish by saying that we will look after Johnny Gaudreau. He is our new child, and we will look after him for you. If people want to kind of keep up with the Flames, maybe check in with how Johnny Gaudreau's old team is doing, where can they find you and your show?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at Jess Belmosto. I host Locked On Flames, so you can find it wherever you get your Blue Jackets, Locked On Blue Jackets podcast. YouTube, Spotify, Stitcher, Audible, Odyssey, Apple, you name it. We're there, and I really think that the city of Columbus is going to come to love Johnny, his wife Meredith, Guy, and Jane, his parents, are just, they're fantastic people. And Uncle Jim is active on Twitter. He is just an icon in himself. Absolutely adore him. So just treat the whole Gaudreau package with love.
We can certainly do that. We'll have to get together again before the first Blue Jackets Flames game, and we can do some predictions and have some fun with it. But thank you for coming to tell us all about Johnny Hockey for all of the Blue Jackets listeners out there.
I'm so happy I got to talk about it in a positive framing and someone who wants to hear it positively framed. But thank you so much for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
You are extremely welcome.